Following the recent Flight 9 test, SpaceX prepares for the single most critical mission, proving orbital refueling is possible, a task critics say cannot be done. A gas stop in the sky. The single most critical mission. Following the recent Flight 9 test, SpaceX prepares for the single most critical mission, proving orbital refueling is possible. Critics say it cannot be done. This single sentence describes a pivot point for human exploration. It is the moment where science fiction becomes engineering fact. The stakes are immense, not just for one company, but for our species as a multiplanetary one. This isn't just another rocket launch. It is the test of a concept that could rewrite the rules of space travel, making distant worlds like Mars accessible like never before. What is orbital refueling? A cosmic pit stop. So what exactly is orbital refueling? The concept is simple to grasp. Imagine a long road trip in a very large truck. Filling its tank completely makes it too heavy to climb the first hill. You have a choice. Take a much smaller truck, or add fuel after you've already started. Orbital refueling is the cosmic version of adding fuel mid-journey. Rockets are trapped by the tyranny of the rocket equation. More fuel to go farther means more fuel just to lift that fuel. It's a vicious cycle. SpaceX's plan for orbital refueling with Starship is both elegant and ambitious. It relies on the full reusability of the Starship vehicle itself, one configured for carrying crew and cargo on a long journey, another configured as a dedicated fuel tanker. The process begins with the launch of the primary Starship, the one destined for Mars. This ship uses its own power to achieve a stable low Earth orbit, a parking spot about 100 miles above the surface of our planet. It waits there, a massive vessel ready for its epic voyage. Next comes the tanker fleet. One by one, SpaceX will launch several Starship tankers. Each tanker is essentially a flying thermos bottle designed to carry a full load of supercooled propellant, liquid methane, liquid oxygen. Each tanker will perform a series of precise maneuvers to approach the waiting Mars ship. This is an incredibly delicate dance. Both ships are hurtling around the Earth at over 17,000 miles per hour. They must match speed and orientation perfectly, rendezvous and docking. It's like two bullets fired from the same gun trying to touch tips in mid-air. The ability to refuel in orbit is not just an incremental improvement, it is a revolutionary capability. Its importance cannot be overstated. First and foremost, it dramatically increases the payload capacity for missions to Mars and beyond. Without refueling, a Starship might send a small payload on a one-way trip. With refueling, the same Starship can carry over 100 tons of cargo, carry a full crew, land on the surface of Mars, and still have enough fuel to return to Earth. This is the difference between sending a small robotic probe and sending the foundational elements of a self-sustaining city. Think of it in terms of moving. Imagine moving your entire house across the country. Without refueling, you're limited to what fits in a car trunk. With refueling, you can use a fleet of full-sized moving trucks. You can bring your furniture. You can bring your tools. You can bring your food. You can bring scientific labs. You can bring habitats. Everything you need to not just visit, but to stay. Furthermore, orbital refueling makes deep space travel vastly more affordable by leveraging reusability. The most expensive parts of the rocket are on Starship: engines, avionics, life support systems. We don't throw away a Boeing 747 after one flight. We refuel it and fly it again. While the concept of orbital refueling is straightforward, the physics and engineering are, formidable. The primary difficulty stems from the nature of the fuel itself. Starship's engines, the Raptors, are powered by liquid methane, liquid oxygen, collectively known as cryogenic propellants. These are not like the gasoline in your car, which is stable at room temperature. These propellants must be kept at extraordinarily cold temperatures to remain in their dense liquid state. If they warm up even slightly, they begin to boil and turn into gas, a phenomenon called boil-off. In the harsh environment of space, managing temperature is a huge problem. On one side, a spacecraft is exposed to the intense, unfiltered radiation of the sun, which can heat surfaces to hundreds of degrees. On the other side, facing deep space, it is exposed to near absolute zero. This extreme temperature difference makes it very difficult to keep the propellant tanks at a stable, frigid temperature. SpaceX engineers must design incredibly efficient insulation, like a high-tech thermos bottle, and potentially even active cooling systems or cryocoolers to minimize boil-off during the mission. Transferring these cryogenic liquids in a zero-gravity environment presents another set of unique challenges. On Earth, gravity helpfully keeps liquids settled at the bottom of a tank. In orbit, liquids float around in blobs. To pump the fuel, you first need to make sure you are pumping liquid, not gas. This requires sophisticated propellant management systems that can use small thrusters to gently push the spacecraft forward, settling the liquid at one end of the tank before the transfer begins. It seems simple, but getting it wrong could damage the pumps or lead to an incomplete fuel transfer. The hoses, valves, and docking ports must be able to connect securely in space and create a perfect seal. Any leak would not only waste precious fuel, but could also create a dangerous cloud of flammable gas around the spacecraft. With any endeavor this ambitious, there is a long list of risks, and critics are right to point them out. Space is an unforgiving environment, and a mission of this complexity has many potential points of failure. The first major hurdle is the rendezvous and docking. While docking is a routine procedure for the International Space Station, Starship is a much larger and more massive vehicle. A miscalculation in its trajectory or a failure in its thruster system could lead to a collision that creates massive, dangerous debris. The fuel transfer process itself is fraught with peril. A failure in a pump, a valve that gets stuck open, a valve that gets stuck closed, or a leak in a transfer line could have severe consequences. A significant leak of cryogenic propellant could create a thrust that sends the docked spacecraft spinning out of control. It could also coat sensitive instruments or solar panels in frozen fuel, rendering them useless. The risk of fire or explosion, while low in a vacuum, is not zero, especially if leaking oxygen and methane were to mix and find an ignition source, like a spark from electronics or a hot engine component. Beyond the immediate mechanical risks, there is the problem of propellant boil-off. Even with the best insulation, some amount of fuel will inevitably turn to gas and be lost. Engineers must accurately predict this rate of loss to ensure that enough fuel remains for the mission. If they get their calculations wrong, a Starship could arrive at Mars with insufficient fuel to land safely, or even worse, to make the return journey home. Critics of the plan argue that these challenges are so immense that a simpler, more traditional mission architecture should be pursued. They suggest that relying on a chain of multiple successful launches and a complex, unproven in-space operation introduces too many opportunities for failure. A single weather delay or technical issue with one of the tanker launches could derail the entire timeline for a Mars mission. Let's step back for a moment from the technical details from the cryogenic propellants and the orbital mechanics. Let's think about what this mission truly represents. For all of recorded history, humanity has been bound to this one planet. We have looked up at the stars and wondered. Poets, philosophers, scientists have all felt the deep, primal pull of the cosmos. The desire to explore, to see what lies over the next hill, is woven into our DNA. It is the same spirit that drove our ancestors out of Africa, across continents, over oceans. This mission, this test to refuel a spaceship in orbit, is a direct expression of that ancient impulse. It is a quiet, powerful moment of emotion for our species. It's the feeling you get when you stand on a shoreline and look out at the vast, empty ocean, but for the first time you have a map and a ship capable of making the crossing. Mars is our new world. The idea of humans walking on its surface, seeing a sunrise over Olympus Mons, seeing a sunset from Valles Marineris, is profoundly moving. To think that within our lifetime we might see the first footprints on another planet is awe-inspiring. It connects us to a grand, multi-generational story of exploration. Engineers, technicians, are not just building hardware. They are building a bridge to another world. They are shouldering the hopes and dreams of billions who have gazed at the night sky and felt wonder. The orbital refueling demonstration serves as a crucial bridge. It connects the era of experimental rocketry characterized by short test flights and incremental gains to a new era of systematic exploration. Up until this point, even our most ambitious missions have been expeditions. We send a few astronauts for a short stay in orbit or to the moon. Then they come home. Success has been measured by safe return. This mission lays the groundwork for habitation. If this test is successful, it will change how mission planners think about the future. It moves a Mars base from what if to how to. Planners can design long-term campaigns instead of single-shot missions. They can think in terms of logistics, supply chains, infrastructure. The conversation shifts from, can we get there, to what do we need to bring to build a town? It validates a transportation architecture for delivering hundreds of tons to Mars. This mission is the proof of concept investors, public-private, have been waiting for. A successful refueling validates the business model for a reusable, interplanetary transport system. It signals Starship's payoff, not just launching satellites, but creating new economies in space. It will trigger a wave of investment and innovation in related fields. In-space manufacturing, closed-loop life support systems, resource utilization on the Martian surface. Ultimately, the refueling test is the linchpin for Mars colonization. Without it, Starship is an impressive Earth orbit rocket. With it, Starship becomes a true spaceship, plying routes between planets like ocean liners. It is the final exam before the real journey. Passing this test makes the path to Mars clear. It turns a red horizon dream into a destination on a map. In the end, this mission is about more than technology. It is about the future we choose to build. The success of orbital refueling is a key that unlocks a door. On the other side of that door is a future we've only visited in our imaginations. It is a future where humanity is not confined to a single celestial body. It is a future where our reach extends across the solar system, where the story of our species is written on the red dust of another world. So, let's take a moment to imagine. Imagine fleets of starships in Earth orbit, gleaming stainless steel hulls in sunlight, precise docking maneuvers, fuel lines transferring propellant in microgravity, engines ignite for the long transit to Mars. Imagine the first generation of children born on another planet, looking up to see a tiny blue dot, Earth. Imagine scientists drilling for water ice in a Martian crater, extracting and processing that ice, growing habitats and settlements. Imagine the new perspectives we will gain, seeing Earth from Mars, a fragile blue oasis in black space. Solutions born on Mars impacting Earth, sustainable energy, recycling innovations, agricultural systems in space habitats. The endeavor will push us, test us, and could unite us beyond borders. This orbital refueling test is the first concrete step on that path. It is difficult, risky, audacious, but necessary. We watch and we wait. Not just to see if two machines can connect, but to see if we, as a species, are ready to take that next great leap. The universe has set the challenge before us. Now we must see if we are ready to meet it. Imagine the day we do.